The first question we all ask when life throws us off balance is, why me? Why did this have to happen to me? Why am I the one who has to face this? Why can't life be a little kinder? I used to ask those questions too. When everything fell apart, my plans, my dreams, even my body, I kept asking why me. But one day I realized that the question was keeping me stuck. It was keeping me small because every time I said why me, I was giving my pain the power to define me. So I decided to change the question. Instead of saying why me, I started saying try me. And that tiny shift changed everything. Because when you say try me, you tell life that no matter what comes your way, you are still ready to rise. You may bend, but you will not break. You may cry, but you will not quit. The moment you change your question, you change your entire story. See, life is not unfair, it's just unfiltered. It gives us experiences to shape us, not to shame us. Every hardship, every failure, every heartbreak is a mirror showing us what we are truly made of. When you start seeing challenges as opportunities to grow, you stop running away from them. You start welcoming them as teachers, and that's when transformation begins. I remember the first time I said, try me. Not out loud, but inside my heart. I was sitting in a hospital bed, staring at a future I didn't recognize. Everything I had planned was gone. But in that silence, I realized that the situation might have changed, but I still had control over my response. I could either drown in self-pity or rise with self-belief. I chose the second. And believe me, that decision didn't come with applause or magic. It came with patience, tears, and 1,000 small steps. But that's what training your mind looks like. It's not about instant results, it's about consistent resilience. The truth is, our minds are trained by repetition. The more you tell yourself you're a victim, the more powerless you become. But the more you tell yourself you're capable, the stronger you grow. When you say, try me, you're not denying your pain. You're deciding that pain will not have the final word. So the next time life pushes you down, don't ask why it happened. Ask what it's teaching you. Don't ask why you were chosen to suffer. Ask what strength this challenge is revealing within you. Because life doesn't test you to destroy you. It tests you to prepare you. And remember this, the question you ask determines the power you find. So stop asking why me and start saying try me, because that's when you stop surviving and start winning. Pain has a strange way of introducing us to ourselves. It comes uninvited, unannounced, and unapologetic. None of us wakes up one morning saying, I hope today hurts. But the truth is, pain has been one of life's most honest teachers. It doesn't sugarcoat lessons. It doesn't come wrapped in comfort. But it teaches with precision. When life breaks you, it's not punishing you. It's shaping you. I used to think pain was my enemy. I thought if I could just avoid it, I could stay strong. But one day I realized something powerful. Pain doesn't weaken us. Resisting it does. When you run from your pain, it chases you. When you face it, it frees you. Every scar carries a story, not of what broke you, but of what built you. The cracks you see in yourself are not signs of weakness. They're proof that you've survived what was meant to destroy you. There was a time when I looked at my reflection and didn't recognize the person staring back. Everything looked different. My body, my life, my identity. I felt trapped between who I was and who I had to become. And for a long time, I fought that pain. I blamed it, I feared it, I tried to silence it. But the more I resisted, the heavier it became. Until one day, I just sat with it. No distractions, no denial, just honesty. And in that stillness, pain began to speak. It whispered, I am not here to break you. I am here to wake you. That moment changed everything for me. I began to understand that pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Every painful experience teaches you empathy, resilience, and depth. It gives you eyes that can see beyond appearances and a heart that can feel beyond words. Pain softens the edges of your ego and strengthens the core of your spirit. It humbles you, but it also humanizes you. The truth is, growth and comfort cannot coexist. You cannot evolve while staying in spaces that don't challenge you. Pain is the force that pushes you beyond your limits and reveals your hidden strength. It's the reminder that you are more capable than you ever believed. When you stop avoiding pain and start learning from it, it transforms from a wound into wisdom. So if you're hurting today, I want you to know this. You're not broken. You're being rebuilt. The pain you feel now is not the end of your story. It's the rewriting of it. One day you will look back and realize that your greatest pain became your greatest power, because pain is not your curse, it's your compass, pointing you toward who you were always meant to be. And when you embrace that truth, pain no longer defines you, it refines you. We spend so much time trying to control everything around us, our circumstances, our relationships, our careers, even the way people see us, but no matter how hard we try, life will always have its own plans. There will always be moments that slip through our fingers, moments that remind us we're not in charge of the world outside. But here's the secret. We are in charge of the world inside. And that world, your mind, is the true battlefield where every victory and defeat begins. When my life changed forever, I thought I had lost everything. I couldn't move the way I used to, couldn't live the way I had planned. And for a long time, I believed that my life was over because my circumstances had changed. But slowly, I began to realize that the real fight wasn't with my body. It was with my thoughts. The pain I felt wasn't just physical, it was mental. It was the voice in my head that said, "You can't." The whispers that said, "You're not enough." And the more I listened to them, the weaker I felt. Then one day, I asked myself a simple question. What if I stopped fighting life and started training my mind? That one question opened a new door. I began to understand that strength doesn't come from what you can control, it comes from what you can conquer within. Your thoughts can either be your cage or your wings. They can trap you in fear or set you free in faith. The mind is powerful, but it's also sensitive. It believes what you repeatedly tell it. If you constantly feed it negativity, it will grow doubt. But if you feed it gratitude, hope, and courage, it will grow resilience. Training your mind doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It means learning to stay calm in chaos. It means choosing peace when you have every reason to panic. Some days your mind will be your biggest enemy, and that's okay. It's not about silencing every negative thought. It's about not letting it control your story. When your mind says, "You can't do this," whisper back, "Watch me." When it says, "You're not ready," remind yourself, "I've survived worse." Because once your mind learns to stand firm, no storm can shake you. Life will test you in unexpected ways, but remember, the situation doesn't decide your strength, your mindset does. You can't control the waves, but you can learn how to surf. You can't stop the rain, but you can dance in it. That's what training your mind truly means, learning to rise even when everything around you is falling apart. Because when you master your mind, you don't just win battles, you win yourself. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools we have, and still, it's often the one we forget when we need it most. When life gets hard, gratitude feels almost unnatural. How can you be grateful when everything around you seems to be falling apart? How can you say thank you when your heart is aching? I used to ask myself those same questions. Gratitude sounded easy when life was kind, but impossible when it wasn't. Yet, it was in my darkest moments that gratitude became my greatest light. After my accident, I remember lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by machines and quiet tears. There was a time when I couldn't even lift my own hand, and I thought to myself, what do I have left to be thankful for? But then a nurse came in, smiled, and said, "You're breathing. That's a start." And it hit me. Gratitude doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be about what you've gained. It can simply be about what remains. I started small. I was grateful for the air I could still breathe, for the family that stood beside me, for the gift of another sunrise. And day by day, that gratitude became the bridge between where I was and where I wanted to be. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it changes how you carry it. It teaches you to look beyond what you've lost and see what you still have. When you begin to count your blessings, even the smallest ones, you shift the focus from emptiness to abundance. Life is full of losses, yes, but it's also full of quiet miracles. A friend who checks in, a laugh in the middle of tears, a lesson learned through struggle. These moments are the threads that hold us together when everything else feels undone. The truth is, gratitude is not a reaction, it's a decision. It's the choice to see light in the middle of darkness. When you decide to be grateful, you stop waiting for life to be perfect before you start appreciating it. You stop saying, "I'll be happy when," and start saying, "I'm thankful now." And that shift changes everything. It gives you peace in the middle of chaos, strength in the middle of uncertainty, and joy in places you never expected to find it. There will be days when it's hard to see the good, and that's okay. On those days, remind yourself that gratitude isn't about ignoring the pain. It's about recognizing that even in pain, there is still something left to hold on to. Maybe it's a lesson, maybe it's love, maybe it's simply the breath that keeps you alive. Because when you choose gratitude, you don't just survive what you've lost, you transform it into something beautiful. The people you allow into your life have a silent power. They can either lift you higher or pull you deeper into the shadows. When life gets tough, we often look for strength within ourselves, and yes, that's important. But we sometimes forget that our environment, our circle, our energy, all of it shapes the way our mind thinks and our heart feels. You can be the strongest person in the world, but if you surround yourself with constant negativity, it will slowly drain the light out of you. I remember during my hardest days, I used to isolate myself. I thought strength meant facing everything alone. I didn't want anyone to see me weak or broken or uncertain. But what I didn't realize was that isolation doesn't heal you. Connection does. One day, a friend came to visit. She didn't say much. She just sat beside me and listened. No advice, no judgment, just presence. And in that silence, I felt something shift inside me. For the first time, I realized that hope can be borrowed. Sometimes when you can't find it in yourself, you find it in the hearts of others. Surrounding yourself with hope doesn't mean only being around people who smile all the time. It means being around people who remind you of your strength when you forget it. People who don't feed your fears but nurture your faith. The kind who see the best in you even when you can't. Life is too short to keep explaining your worth to those who refuse to see it. You owe it to yourself to stand among people who reflect your light, not your limits. There will always be voices that tell you what you cannot do, who you cannot be, and how you should live. But you get to choose which voices to turn into echoes. Surround yourself with people who clap for you when no one else does, who encourage your growth instead of competing with it, because your environment becomes your energy and your energy becomes your mind's bet. When you're surrounded by hope, it becomes harder for fear to win. I also learned that sometimes you have to let go of certain people. Not because you stopped caring, but because they stopped understanding your journey. Growth will often require distance. It doesn't mean you're unkind. It means you're protecting your peace. You cannot heal in the same environment that hurt you. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose a new circle, one that aligns with who you are becoming, not who you used to be. So be intentional about who you allow into your space. Find people who speak life into you, who remind you that you are capable, worthy, and strong. Because when you surround yourself with hope, you'll realize that healing doesn't just happen inside you, it happens around you too. For the longest time, I thought winning meant having everything go according to plan, achieving every goal, being admired, being successful, being strong all the time. But life has its own definition of winning, and it doesn't always come wrapped in applause or medals. Sometimes winning looks like simply getting out of bed when you didn't think you could. Sometimes it's smiling through pain or choosing kindness when the world has been anything but kind. Real winning is not about standing taller than others. It's about standing again after life has knocked you down. When I lost everything I thought defined me, I believed I had lost the race. But what I didn't realize then was that the race had just changed direction. Life was no longer asking me to run faster, it was asking me to rise stronger, and in that moment I had to redefine what success really meant. It wasn't about being perfect, it was about being present. It wasn't about never falling, it was about never giving up. The world tells us that winners are the ones who never fail, but I've learned that true winners are the ones who fail, fall, cry, and still find the courage to try again. Winning is quiet. It doesn't always come with celebration. Sometimes it's a whisper to yourself saying, I made it through another day. Sometimes it's forgiving someone who never apologized or choosing peace over pride. Winning is learning to find beauty in brokenness, to see lessons where others see loss. Because the real victory happens inside, when your heart softens instead of hardens, when you choose faith over fear, and when you learn to see life not as something happening to you, but for you. We live in a world that glorifies strength but forgets the beauty of vulnerability. But you can be both, strong and soft, brave and scared, broken and beautiful. Strength doesn't mean you never fall apart. It means you. You keep rebuilding yourself every time you do. It means you hold on to hope, even when everything around you tells you to let go. The truth is, life will not always reward you with the outcome you expect, but it will always reward you with growth if you're willing to learn. Every disappointment, every detour, every heartbreak is molding you into someone wiser, kinder, more resilient. So maybe winning isn't about crossing the finish line. Maybe it's about realizing that the race was never against others, but against your own limits. So don't measure your victories by what the world sees. Measure them by how far you've come, how deeply you've felt, and how bravely you've lived. Because the most powerful kind of winning is not about being the best. It's about becoming your best.